She stepped onto the red carpet, and within seconds, every camera turned her way. The flashbulbs weren't just for another celebrity appearance. This was different. Standing confidently at New York Fashion Week, 17-year-old Sunday Rose Kidman-Urban had the entire fashion world talking. Dressed in a sheer Chanel crop top and sleek black silk trousers, her tiny, cinched waist drew instant comparisons to one person: her mother, Nicole Kidman. It was like a moment straight out of Moulin Rouge, but with a modern twist, and the resemblance was almost uncanny. This wasn't some random viral moment. Behind that appearance was years of quiet preparation, strict family rules, and a carefully controlled rise into the spotlight. For years, Sunday was kept away from the modeling industry, despite growing up surrounded by world-class designers, backstage runways, and her mom's legendary photo shoots. And now, that all changed in one night. In just a few months, she's gone from a private teenager to one of fashion's newest it girls, landing magazine covers, major campaigns, and appearances at the most exclusive events. But how did she get here so fast? And what secrets from her upbringing set the stage for this sudden takeover? Let's break it down. The moment Sunday Rose stepped into Sofia Coppola's Chanel Haute Couture book launch, everything changed. It wasn't just another red carpet sighting. It felt like fashion had discovered its next breakout star. She wore a sheer Chanel crop top, paired with black silk trousers that hugged her frame perfectly. But it was the way the outfit was cinched at the waist, creating that vintage hourglass silhouette that had everyone whispering. Fashion reporters immediately drew comparisons to her mom's unforgettable corset look from Moulin Rouge. Side-by-side photos began circulating online, and fans couldn't believe the resemblance. Some even joked that she must have raided Nicole's iconic costume closet. Others called it a full-circle fashion moment, the daughter channeling her mother's legendary past but making it her own. What made this appearance go viral wasn't just the outfit, it was the confidence. Sunday didn't look like a nervous teenager stepping into the spotlight for the first time. She moved with a quiet poise that demanded attention. Cameras followed her every step, and within hours, her look was being shared across TikTok, Instagram, and fashion blogs worldwide. Comment sections exploded with praise. "She's the moment," one user wrote. "This is star energy," said another. Even major fashion critics couldn't ignore it. Several magazines listed her among the best dressed of the night, ranking her look alongside seasoned supermodels. And just like that, in a single night, Sunday Rose Kidman-Urban went from a name only fashion insiders recognized to the new face everyone wanted to know more about. But this sudden rise wasn't accidental. Behind that viral moment were years of boundaries and preparation, and strict rules from her famous parents that kept her away from the spotlight. Until now. For most celebrity kids, the spotlight arrives whether they're ready or not. But for Sunday Rose, things were different. From the very beginning, Nicole Kidman and Keith Urban made a deliberate decision: fame would wait. While the fashion world buzzed around her, Sunday grew up under strict household rules designed to keep her grounded. One of the biggest rules? No modeling before 16, not even a little. It didn't matter that major brands had already started showing interest or that her mother's name could open any door. Nicole drew a hard line. In an interview with Victoria Beckham in 2024, she explained the boundary clearly. "She's about to turn 16. That's what I told her. When she was 16, she was allowed to come to a show. She's wanted to go for a long time. That was her foray into it, and that was it. I'm like, no more. It's a push-pull. I don't want to hold her back because I don't want to be coddling her." Those words revealed a lot. On one hand, Nicole wanted to protect her daughter from the intense pressures of fame she herself experienced as a young actress. On the other, she understood Sunday's growing passion for fashion and didn't want to crush it. It was a careful balance, shielding her from the spotlight while slowly letting her explore it on her own terms. Sunday herself admitted that at first she hated these rules. In her Nylon interview, she confessed that it felt frustrating watching her peers step into opportunities she wasn't allowed to take. But looking back now, she's grateful. She said these rules helped keep her in a good mindset, making sure school and real life came first before the glitz. It's rare to see such discipline in celebrity households. But Nicole and Keith were determined not to let their daughter become just another tabloid story. They gave her time to grow up away from the chaos, to build her own sense of identity before entering an industry known for its relentless pressure. And when she finally Got that green light at 16, her first taste of the runway world. She didn't just step in, she made sure everyone remembered her name. Sunday Rose's real introduction to the world didn't happen on a runway. It happened on the glossy cover of Nylon magazine. In August, the fashion publication unveiled its new It Girl of the Month, and there she was, Sunday, front and center, wearing a sleek, minimal look that let her natural elegance shine through. The cover went viral almost instantly. For many people, this was the first time they saw her not as Nicole Kidman's daughter, but as a name of her own. Nylon didn't treat her like a celebrity kid cashing in on her parents' fame. They presented her like the next big face of fashion, highlighting her personality, her tastes, and her story. It was a calculated, powerful debut. In the interview, Sunday opened up about the rules that shaped her childhood. She explained how she wasn't allowed to even consider modeling until she turned 16. At first, she hated it. Watching opportunities pass by while her peers started early felt like torture for a teenager with big dreams. But now, she said she's grateful. School always has to come first, she told Nylon. Having these rules in place kept me in a good mindset. That honest reflection struck a chord with readers. In an industry where young models are often pushed too fast, too soon, Sunday's story felt refreshing. It wasn't the usual famous kid skips the line narrative. It was about patience, discipline, and finally getting her moment when she was ready for it. The Nylon cover wasn't just a photo shoot, it was a statement. It told the fashion world, this isn't a cameo, it's the start of a career. The styling was deliberately clean, letting her features and confidence do the talking. Behind the scenes, photographers and editors reportedly praised her natural ease in front of the camera, saying she had a quiet star power that didn't need to be forced, and the reaction proved it. Fashion blogs and TikTok users dissected every image, praising her elegance. Magazine stands sold out faster than usual. Within weeks, Sunday had gone from a strictly private teen to one of the most talked about rising names in modeling. But what made this debut even more fascinating is that, long before Nylon ever called, Sunday had been preparing. Not in classrooms or training camps, but in a world most kids could only dream of, behind the scenes of her mother's legendary shoots. Long before Sunday Rose ever posed for a magazine cover, she was quietly learning the language of fashion, not from textbooks or modeling classes, but from the front row of her mother's world. As a little girl, Sunday often tagged along to Nicole Kidman's photo shoots. While other kids spent their afternoons in playgrounds, she spent hers surrounded by racks of designer clothes, top makeup artists, flashing lights, and some of the most influential photographers in the world. She didn't just watch, she absorbed. She's talked about how she'd stand quietly off to the side, watching stylists work their magic, studying how photographers gave direction, noticing how Nicole moved in front of the camera. It was like an informal fashion school, except her classroom was filled with Chanel gowns, couture fittings, and global campaigns. In her Nylon interview, Sunday said this exposure is what first sparked her love for fashion. Growing up, I went to my mom's photo shoots a lot and got to observe, which definitely led to my interest in exploring the modeling world, she explained. And it makes sense. When you grow up watching a Hollywood icon transform under the lens, surrounded by some of the most creative minds in the industry, it shapes the way you see beauty, style, and presence. Sunday didn't stumble into modeling. She grew up studying it quietly, year after year. Even fashion insiders noticed her early interest. Some recalled seeing her backstage, curiously peeking at lookbooks or whispering questions to makeup artists. She wasn't treated like a spoiled celebrity kid. She was more like the kid who wanted to understand how it all worked. This behind-the-scenes education gave Sunday a rare advantage: comfort. By the time she stepped in front of the cameras herself, nothing about it felt foreign. The lighting, the pressure, the eyes watching her, it was all familiar. And that's why her Nylon debut and NYFW moment looked so effortless. She wasn't overwhelmed. She was ready. But growing up in fashion's shadow wasn't just about observation. It set the stage for something bigger. Because once she got the green light to work, Sunday didn't ease in slowly. She made her presence known on the global runway. When Sunday Rose finally stepped into the professional modeling world, she didn't tiptoe in, she made a statement. Her debut wasn't some small editorial shoot or a quiet campaign. It was with Miu Miu, one of the most prestigious and trend-setting fashion houses in the world. For their Spring 2025 campaign, Sunday appeared alongside top models, exuding a quiet confidence that made people double-take. The images were striking, minimalist, modern, and effortlessly cool. She wasn't overshadowed by the bigger names. Instead, her presence stood out. Industry insiders immediately began talking. "She's got that rare natural elegance," one fashion editor commented. Another described her as a fresh face with old-school poise. And it didn't stop there. Within weeks, Sunday started appearing at some of the hottest fashion events of the season. From exclusive launch parties to major runway shows, she was suddenly everywhere. And yet she carried herself with the ease of someone who'd been around this world all her life. Because, in many ways, she had. What impressed many in the industry was her composure. While some young models get overwhelmed by the sudden spotlight, Sunday seemed calm, collected, and quietly powerful. Reporters noted that she never tried too hard to grab attention. Attention simply followed her. It's rare for someone's early steps in fashion to be this smooth. But Sunday had a secret advantage. Years of silent preparation, her parents' carefully timed approach, and a lifetime spent absorbing fashion's unspoken language. By now, her name wasn't just circulating in celebrity gossip columns. Major designers were taking note. Her rise had the elegance of a well-planned runway walk, poised, deliberate, and impossible to ignore. But Sunday isn't the only rising star in the Kidman-Urban household. Because while she's making waves on the runway, her younger sister has already had her own moment in the spotlight. And that's where things get even more interesting. Sunday Rose may be stepping into the global fashion spotlight, but she's not the only rising star in the Kidman-Urban household. Behind the scenes, another name is quietly beginning to shine. Faith, Sunday's younger sister. And if Sunday's rise felt polished and strategic, Faith's first steps were just as attention-grabbing. Earlier this year, Faith, who's only 14 years old, appeared alongside her mom in a Clé de Peau Beauté campaign, a major beauty brand known for its sophisticated and luxurious image. For many fans, this was the first time they'd seen Faith in a professional setting, and the reaction was immediate. Even at such a young age, she carried herself with a natural grace that made people wonder if she'd be following a similar path to her sister. The campaign itself was elegant and understated, featuring Faith and Nicole in soft lighting, almost mirroring each other. Observers couldn't help but draw parallels between Nicole's early career and her daughter's emerging presence. It felt symbolic, 3 generations of beauty and influence overlapping in one frame. Nicole's established legacy, Sunday's breakthrough, and Faith's quiet entrance. And while Faith hasn't stepped fully into modeling yet, her appearance made one thing clear: talent runs deep in this family. With Sunday blazing a trail in high fashion and Faith already catching attention in beauty, the Kidman-Urban household is becoming more than just a celebrity family. It's starting to look like a fashion dynasty in the making. What's even more interesting is how both sisters are carving their identities differently. Sunday leans into runway and editorial work, classic, elegant, poised. Faith's debut had a softer, more cinematic feel, hinting at a slightly different aesthetic. It's not about competition between them. It's about 2 parallel stories unfolding side by side, and through it all, Nicole and Keith have maintained the same grounded approach they took with Sunday, protecting their daughter's privacy, setting boundaries, and making sure their rise happens at the right time, not too fast. It's rare to see a family where both siblings step into the spotlight with this level of poise. But in the Kidman-Urban household, it almost feels natural, like the spotlight was always waiting for them. From quietly observing fashion shoots as a child, to commanding the spotlight on some of the biggest stages in the world, Sunday Rose Kidman-Urban's rise has been nothing short of fascinating. What started as a carefully protected childhood has transformed into a poised, calculated debut that's turning heads across the fashion industry. Her viral New York Fashion Week moment introduced her to the world. The Nylon magazine cover cemented her as a name to watch. And her work with Miu Miu proved she's not just a celebrity kid. She's a professional carving out her own lane. Add to that a younger sister already making waves in beauty campaigns. And suddenly, the Kidman-Urban household isn't just part of Hollywood royalty anymore. It's shaping up to be fashion royalty, too. What's striking about Sunday's journey is how intentional it's been. There were no rushed debuts, no chaotic press stunts, no fame for fame's sake. Instead, every move has felt deliberate, guided by strict boundaries, personal growth, and a deep understanding of the world she's entering. That kind of foundation is rare, and it's exactly what makes her story so compelling. The big question now is, what's next? Will Sunday dominate the runway seasons ahead? Land major brand ambassador deals? Maybe even follow in her mother's footsteps and cross over into film? Fashion insiders are already speculating, and fans are watching closely. One thing's clear, this is just the beginning. Nicole Kidman built an empire in Hollywood. Sunday Rose is quietly building her own, and she's doing it on her terms. And if this first chapter is any indication, the next one is going to be unforgettable.